My name is Vickie Deppe, and I'm the editor of the State Legislators' Article 5 Caucus newsletter.
I'm Neil Shearer, president of Path to Reform, former state senator from Iowa, and working across the country to bring states together to address national issues.
So Neil, you've talked to hundreds of state legislators across the country, and you've been telling them that it's quite possible we could have an Article 5 convention within the next 24 months. What do they say to you?
Well, first of all, they say, I think you're crazy. And I look at them when their eyes bug out because they can't believe that we're that close because of all the individual issues and getting to 34 and the application process. But I explained to them that there's enough applications on file that Congress, if they had the political will, could call a convention for proposing amendments today. I believe within the next 24 months, we could have a convention for proposing amendments.
Is Neil crazy? Let's do a fact check and find out. Okay, so let's fact check Neil and see if he is in fact crazy to think that we could have an Article 5 convention within the next 24 months. Before we dig into Neil's timeline, let's quickly review Article 5. Article 5 is the part of our Constitution that explains the process for amending it. There are two ways to do this. The first is through Congress. A member of Congress drafts an amendment, and if 2/3 of the members of the House and 2/3 of the members of the Senate vote for it, it gets sent to the states for ratification. If it's ratified by 3/4 of the states, it becomes part of our Constitution. There's a second way to amend the Constitution, and we have a gentleman named George Mason to thank for it. He was a delegate at the Constitutional Convention and is remembered as the father of the Bill of Rights. Mason sagely observed that if Congress was the only body with the power to amend the Constitution, then no amendments of the proper kind would ever be obtained by the people if the government should become oppressive. So he proposed giving the states the same authority to amend the Constitution as Congress has. So the states have the same constitutional authority to propose amendments that Congress does. But since the 50 states don't meet together on a regular basis like Congress, they need to schedule a special meeting if they want to talk about amending the Constitution. That meeting is called an Article 5 convention because it's called under the authority of Article 5. So how do they do that? If a state wants to have a convention to propose amendments, the legislature passes a resolution and sends it to Congress. This is called an application, and it could say, we want to talk about just this one thing, or it could say, we'll talk about anything. Once Congress receives these applications from 2/3 of the states, which at the moment is 34 of them, Congress is required to call, or in other words, name the date and location of the convention. Each state can send a delegation to that meeting where they will discuss and vote on one or more amendments. Amendments that are approved at the convention go to the states for ratification, and those that are ratified by 3/4 of the states become part of our Constitution. When Congress receives applications for the same or overlapping subjects from at least 2/3 of the states, 34 at the moment, it's time to call a convention. This process of counting to 34 is called aggregation. Overlapping is the operative word here. So for example, if 19 states submit an application that says, we want to talk about making apples the national fruit, and 17 others say they want to talk about making pears the national fruit, that totals more than 34. But these subjects are mutually exclusive, so we're not to convention yet. What's an example where there is overlap? Let's imagine that 10 states have passed a national fruit application, but they haven't stipulated what that fruit should be. So now we can add those 10 to either the apple or the pear applications for a total of 29 applications for an apple convention or 27 for a pear convention. We also have 10 applications for a generic national fruit convention. At this point, it's important to note that when we're counting to 34, we count the number of states that have submitted an application, not the applications themselves. That's because some states have multiple applications that address the same subject. Louisiana, for example, has 2 applications for a balanced budget amendment. So let's now imagine that of the 10 states that have passed a national fruit application, 2 have also passed the apple application, and 1 has passed the pear application. How does that affect our count? For the apple convention, we start with the 19 apple applications, then we add in the 10 national fruit applications. But we need to back off the 2 duplicates, and that gives us a total of 27. Similarly, for the pear convention, we start with the 17 pear applications, then add the national fruit applications, and then back off the 1 duplicate for a total of 26. We also have 10 applications towards a generic national fruit convention. Now let's imagine that there are 12 states that have passed those We'll Talk About Anything applications. And of those 12 Everything Bagel states, 3 have also passed a national fruit application. Where are we now? Well, for the apple convention, we have the 19 original apple applications. We add in the 10 national fruit applications. We back off the 2 duplicates. Then we add in the 12 Everything Bagel applications and back off the 3 duplicates there. So we have a total of 36 now. For the pear convention, we start with 17 original pear applications. We add the 10 national fruit applications. We back off the 1 duplicate. We add in the 12 Everything Bagel applications and back off the 3 duplicates there for a total of 35. And for the fruit convention, we have 10 original fruit applications. Then we add in the 12 Everything Bagel applications and back off the 3 duplicates. Now that we've got a handle on how Article 5 applications are tallied, let's have a look at some actual Article 5 applications that are moving through legislatures across the United States. We'll first look at the Convention of States project application. It covers term limits, spending controls, and federal overreach. There are 19 states that have passed the Convention of States project application. There are also, believe it or not, really 12 Everything Bagel applications. 4 of these states also have a Convention of States project application. So our tally is 19 Convention of States project applications, 12 Everything Bagel applications, and we back off the 4 duplicates for a total of 27 applications that can be used to call a Convention of States project convention. Next, let's talk about term limits. 6 states have passed a term limits application. You probably remember that the Convention of States project application covers term limits as well. 5 of the 19 states that have passed a Convention of States project application have also passed a term limits application. And let's not forget our Everything Bagel states. There are 12 of them, 4 of which have a Convention of States project and/or term limits application. So let's add those up. We have 6 term limits applications, 19 Convention of States project applications, 12 Everything Bagels, and we back off the 9 duplicates, bringing us to a total of 28. Next, let's take a look at fiscal controls. 8 states have passed an application for a convention to discuss fiscal controls of some kind. The Convention of States project application also covers fiscal controls, so we'll count those too. 19 Convention of States project applications have been passed, and 4 of those states also have a fiscal controls application. And once again, we count our Everything Bagel applications. 5 of those states have a Convention of States project and/or fiscal controls application in force. So how does that tally up? 8 fiscal controls applications, 19 Convention of States project applications, and 12 Everything Bagel applications. When we back off the 9 duplicates, we come up with a total of 30. Lastly, let's take a look at the balanced budget amendment. 19 states have passed an application for a convention to discuss a balanced budget amendment. As we saw in the last slide, 8 states have passed an application for a convention to propose 1 or more fiscal controls on Washington. A BBA is one kind of fiscal control, so we count those. 1 of these states also has a BBA application in force, so we'll eliminate that duplicate. Once again, the Convention of States project application covers fiscal controls, so we count the 19 states with a Convention of States project application too. 17 of these states also have a BBA or fiscal controls application in force. And we cap it off with our Everything Bagels. 7 of these 12 states have one of the other applications. So where is balanced budget amendment? Well, we've got the 19 balanced budget amendment applications. We've got 8 for Fiscal Controls, 19 Convention of States project applications, 12 Everything Bagels, and 25 duplicates, which gives us a total of 33. So, how close are we to 34? Convention of States project has 27 applications that can be used to call its convention. Term limits is at 28, Fiscal Controls at 30, and a balanced budget amendment at 33. All of these applications are at least 80% of the way to 34. We're over 90% of the way to having enough states to hold a convention for a balanced budget amendment or some other kind of fiscal controls for Washington. So how long will it take to get the remaining applications passed? States have submitted nearly 450 Article 5 applications to Congress in our nation's history. That's about 2 per year on average. In 2022, 5 states passed Article 5 applications. So we could easily have 4 more Article 5 applications within 2 years, which would mean enough applications to hold a fiscal controls or balanced budget convention. If we have another year or 2 with a lot of Article 5 activity like we did this year, we could also reach the threshold for a Convention of States project convention and a term limits convention. So it turns out that Neil is not crazy for thinking that we could see the first ever Article 5 convention in American history in the next 24 months. Are you ready? If you're a state legislator, I have good news for you. Path to Reform and the Article 5 Coalition will be hosting Academy 3.0 in Denver on July 31st, 2022. Tools for states to prepare for a convention for proposing amendments will help your state draft a delegate selection statute, instruct and oversee your delegates, and overcome partisanship to draft amendments that can secure the overwhelming support that's going to be necessary to get them all the way across the finish line to ratification. Just click on the link in the comments to register. I can't overstate how important bipartisanship is in this effort, so please reach across the aisle and bring a colleague along with you. If you missed the Academy, not to worry. It has been recorded and may be accessed online by clicking on the link in the comments. You can stay up to date on Article 5 news by signing up for the State Legislators' Article 5 Caucus newsletter. Just drop an email to marcus@pathtoreform.org. Thank you for listening, and on behalf of all the Article 5 advocates who are working to make this Academy a valuable experience for you, we hope to see you in Denver.